Hey guys, Bobby Hughes here with Point Firearms, and today we're going to be canning bacon, pressure canning bacon. I've done some research on canning bacon and found that it seems like it's going to be a lot cheaper to go ahead and pressure can it than to buy the canned bacon that Yodels is selling for preppers. I priced out the canned bacon from Yodels, and it's really expensive for the can, and so at the end here I'll give you a cost comparison of buying the canned bacon from Yodels or canning it yourself. I got this bacon here at Sam's Club. It wasn't on sale, but the price of meats just keep going up, and they had a bulk pack that you could get that was I think 10 pounds, and when I did the price comparison, this was just as cheap as the bulk price, and the bulk stuff was some off-brand restaurant style bacon. It's very, very fatty, which most of the time when I use bacon I use the fatty part, but this is actually Hormel bacon, and it's thick slice, and it looks really good. It's not near as fatty as the cheap restaurant stuff, and it was, like I said, about the same price. So I've got two 3-pound packages, so I'm going to be doing 6 pounds. And so what you're going to need is your bacon, and you're going to need some parchment paper, and you're also going to need your pressure canner, as well as wide mouth quart jars. Alright, be sure to use wide mouth. The regular mouth, it's not going to cut it the way we're going to pack it, so be sure to use wide mouth. So we're going to can up 6 pounds, so I've got 6 jars. About 1 pound per jar, which is pretty good. That's about the average that you would use when you cook with it or whatever, or store it in the fridge or whatever you want to do with it. So anyway guys, give me a couple minutes. My jars are sterilizing in the oven right now. I'm going to pull those out, let those cool down. I've got my water in my pressure canner, not heating up because we're putting cold meat into cold jars. We don't want to put it into warm water. So lukewarm temperature is fine. Add your couple tablespoons of vinegar to keep your jars from clouding up, and we'll get started. Alright, so our jars are done and they've had time to cool now. So the next thing we want to do is use our parchment paper. So I've got a piece of parchment paper laid out here, and I've got our bacon open, and remember we've got 3 pounds of bacon. So you put about 1 pound of bacon in each quart jar. So I don't know how long a piece I'm going to need yet, so I've cut kind of long. So we can trim it off if we need to. But I got my parchment paper laid out, so what I'm going to do is kind of divide our bacon up into thirds. So probably about like that, like that. And it looks like it's stacked a little bit tighter down here. So what I want to do is go ahead and take about a third of our bacon, which would be about a pound, and go ahead and pull it loose here. And then we're going to lay our bacon out on the parchment paper. And down here on the end, you want to leave probably about the width of the size of a piece of bacon. You want to leave it there and just line it up just like that. I don't know if you guys can see that or not. So we're going to leave about a width piece here, about the size of a piece of bacon, in the starter row there. Leave just maybe just a fraction of an inch down here at the bottom. So probably about a quarter of an inch or so. So just like that. And then we'll just continue laying our bacon out on this parchment paper, and you can butt them right up against each other. You don't have to leave no space there. Love the smell of bacon. Alright, so we're going to go with that length. Now, what you're going to want to do is take another piece of your parchment paper. This parchment paper is 14 7/8 inches, so 15 inches. And what I do is I cut it in thirds. And you want to go ahead and cover up about half of your bacon here. So the bottom half. And what this does is we're going to get ready and flip this bacon over on itself. When we flip it, what that does is when we can it, it keeps the bacon from sticking to itself, so it'll still open up when we open our bacon. So I'm going to take this bacon right here and just flip it right over. Go back and tighten it up here. Alright, flip it back over, just like that. And then remember, we're going to leave about a width piece of bacon down here on this end, and we're going to trim this end off, trim it off even. Flip it. And then we're going to start down here on the end that we cut it off even at. We're going to start rolling it up. You got to roll it tight or you won't get it to fit. this in there. And we have our roll o' bacon. You're going to take your wide mouth jar. See, can you imagine doing this with a regular mouth jar? No way. So just got to work it down in there. And eventually, drop right down in there like that. Then just take the rest of your parchment paper, fold it up, tuck it down in there, just like that. Take our rag, wipe the lid of our jar off. Center a seal on it, lid, and then finger tight, and it's ready to go in the canner just like that. So what we'll do is I'm going to go ahead and roll these up. Should be about 6 quarts when we get done, and then we'll put them in the pressure canner. Alright, so I've got all of our bacon packaged, canned up, wrapped in the parchment paper, and then we've got about 1 pound in each jar. It's probably going to depend on the size of the bacon that you're using, but for me about 14 slices, 13 to 14 slices fit perfectly in the jar. That first jar I did, it was a little bit more, it was harder to get in there. This is a little bit looser, which I think is going to work a little bit better. So about 13 to 15 slices, I would say. Anyway, I turned my my water on, and it's warm, but it's not real hot yet. Don't forget to put your vinegar in there to keep your jars from getting cloudy. We're going to go ahead and set our jars in. Just like that. So we've got all 6 of our jars in. We're going to go ahead and lock our lid on. Alright, so once you get your jars in and your lid on, then we're going to let this thing come up to a good vent. We're going to let it vent steadily for 10 minutes. Then we're going to cap it, and once we reach 10 pounds of pressure, then we'll start our timer for 90 minutes. So it's a long time, but we should have some good bacon out of it when we get done. So I'll be back once it's done. Alright guys, so I think our canned bacon has finally finished up. And it took about, probably about 30 minutes to start venting, and then another 10 minutes of venting, so 40 minutes for that. Then I capped it, probably took it about 10 minutes to get up to 10 pounds of pressure. And so then we let it cook at 10 pounds for 90 minutes, or an hour and a half, and then it's taken another 40 minutes for it to cool down and all the steam to drain out. So we're going to go ahead and open it up now. We break our seal. It's harder time getting it off as I had to get it on there. There we go. Away from us. And let's see what we got here. Looks to me like we have bacon, and there's a close-up of what it should look like. Now all that grease at the bottom there, that's good old bacon grease. So that's going to harden up, it's going to solidify, and that'll give us some good grease to cook with, whether it be making biscuits and gravy or whatever. And all of our bacon is protected in the parchment paper. So we'll go ahead and pull those out here.
guys, so our bacon is set for a little while now. It's cooled off. You can see the grease is starting to solidify a little bit. All of our seals are good. They've all popped or pinged. And I told you guys at the beginning I'd give you a breakdown on the savings or cost or whatever you want to call it. And so I'm comparing this to the infamous Yoder's canned bacon. I priced it online, and the prices that I found were pretty much all about the same. So I took kind of the average price. The Yoder's bacon is $15.55 a can. All right, I think that's right, $15.56 or $15.55, something like that. Well, in a can they advertise that they have 50 slices in that one can, but if you look at the net weight, it's only 9 ounces. So you get 9 ounces of bacon for $15 a can. They say that they'll guarantee the freshness for 2 years, and that the average shelf life is about 10 years. So I did the math, and we canned 6 pounds of bacon, which is 96 ounces. So 96 ounces, if you divide that up, that would end up being 10 and a little over a half cans of the Yoder's bacon. We didn't get as many slices, but weight-wise, we've got 10.6 cans of Yoder's bacon, the equivalents. That much Yoder's bacon would cost you $164. Alright, so our bacon that we canned, the same amount, 6 pounds, 96 ounces, breakdown on the price, 70 cents a piece for the jars, so the $4.20 there. You got $3.75 worth of parchment paper, and that's probably on the high side because I bought it at a convenience store here, so you know that's a little bit more. And then the bacon, we've got $16 in the bacon. So total, we've got $23.95 in our canned bacon. So I don't know about you, but I would much rather spend $23.95 in a couple hours of my time as opposed to spending $165 or $164 for the Yoder's bacon plus shipping. So anyway, guys, and I would say our shelf life is probably about the same. 2 years easy, and probably up to about 10 years if you keep it in a cool, dry, dark environment. So anyway, guys, that's how to can bacon. And maybe in a year or so I'll crack a can open and we'll do another video on how the quality is. As far as cooking with it, your bacon is already thoroughly cooked. In the canning process, it cooks via convection, the heat of the water. So it's already cooked. All you would need to do is just open it up, unroll your parchment paper, flip it out on a baking pan, and then throw it in the oven for a little while, or stick it out in the sun or in your solar oven, or whatever the situation might be. But you could use it in the future like that, and if you want crispy, you just fry it, just like regular bacon, just not as long. Plus you got all the good grease to use for biscuits and gravy or whatever. So anyway, guys, that's it. Until the next video, get out there, shoot some guns, be safe, most importantly, have fun. It's Bobby Hughes with Point Firearms. See you next time.